Hey folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? Welcome back to Farming Simulator 19 here on the Hagenstedt map. Let's get back to reliving the glory days. There are cultivators that allow you to fold them in there, to lower them in their folded state. Like the Amazon, there's an Amazon 6-meter cultivator that goes on a 3-point linkage. That one you fold up. That one folds up exactly the same as this one. It splits in half like this. It's the one I'm using on the Boulder Canyon series. You can lower that one to the ground in its folded state. It doesn't automatically unfold. The mowers, they like the side mounted. Well, any of the mowers actually. You can't lower down the mowers while they're in their folded state. You've got to unfold them. You've got to drop them off in their raised position. So there's a few machines that do have that, and I would absolutely class that as a bug. That is a game bug. It shouldn't be like that, and it's one that they knew early on, and they said no, we're not gonna fix this. It's sort of basically working as intended. I don't understand why that is intended. What's the reasoning behind saying that is acceptable, and yeah, we're quite happy with that? Because to me it seems like it's incomplete and unfinished. It's just one of those little things. It's one of those little niggly things that irritate me from time to time if I stop and think about them too much. Are there anything like that in the game that you have? I mean, I know that there's a lot of people will say that the hired help is pretty poor, but I'll be honest, I think the hired help is quite significantly improved this time round compared to the last one, and the time before as well. Like I have found the hired help has slowly been improving over time, and certainly there was an update that they did in this one that did a lot for the hired help, and it really did seem to improve it a bit. Unfortunately, when they were improving the hired help and working on it, something that they neglected to do was make sure the hired help worked properly with the sugarcane harvester. And sugarcane harvesting using hired help is absolutely appalling, the way that it turns on the ends of the rows. Because the hired help is trying to read like two things at once, so it gets to the end of the row, and the cutter at the top, that stops cutting, and then it goes to finish, but then it realizes there's something on the ground, and so it goes back to read that. And there's some programming there that was done wrong, and I just get the impression that sugarcane was added into the game, and it was quite well received to start with, but then people got bored with it, and Giant sort of realized that people weren't particularly interested in sugarcane harvesting. Didn't really want all that much. It was a bit of a niche thing, and so they've like potatoes, really. Potatoes in this game are another niche thing. There's plenty of people that like the sugar beet. There's lots of people that will do sugar beet stuff, and they've added quite a bit of sugar beet stuff into the game. But for some reason, potatoes have not received much love, and sugarcane has received nothing. Sugarcane has received absolutely nothing, and the hired help doesn't work properly with the sugarcane equipment that they've got. Like the standard sugarcane harvester, it just doesn't work with it. It gets to the end of the row, and then it has this really weird sort of episode, and does strange things, and it does it at the end of every single row. Fortunately, the AI vehicle extension does work all right with the sugarcane harvesters. There's another issue with the AI vehicle extension, but that's more to do with the actual harvester, where it sort of gets stuck when it's trying to do when it's trying to turn it round. But only if you've got the turning on the wrong setting. If you've got the turning where it's got to reverse backwards and forwards, it doesn't like it, and it gets stuck on the ground for no apparent reason, and that's to do with the way that the machinery now bounces up and down on the fields. The sugarcane harvester, again, there's issues with it that haven't been ironed out. It's just been forgotten about. And there's a couple of little niggly bits in the game that do really irritate me, and sort of gives this overall feeling of it's incomplete. It's not quite up to par. It's not quite up to standard. However, don't sort of mistake me bellyaching about a few small issues like this as me disliking the game. I was disappointed with the game when it first came out. I'm not going to hide that. But I do think that there's a lot of improvements have been carried out, and the game now is absolutely fantastic. I mean, generally speaking, I think the game is brilliant as it is. I really love the customization options that we've got. I think that is brilliant. The way that we can remodel the entire... Like, if I wanted to in this map, I could turn every single part of this map, apart from, like, the built-in placed stones. Though, see the cliffs over there? Those cliffs there are just sculpted out of the land, and I could turn all of that into a field. That over there is a placed object. Those stones right there near the farmhouse, I wouldn't be able to do anything with those. But most of the landscape around here I could turn into field if I wanted to. The fact that I've got that as an option, I think, is absolutely wonderful. I really, really do like that. I think it is absolutely fantastic, and it does make a big difference to me for overall enjoyability of gameplay. Like, it really does. That's one of the things that I really love about the game. So there are a few niggly little points that I come across every now and then that really irritate me, like the cultivator not being able to lower down properly, which could be easily... That I think is something that could be easily fixed. I mean, I'm not a game developer. I'm not... I don't do coding or anything. But from what I know about coding and game developing, that's something that would be an easy fix. It's something that could have been fixed a long time ago, very simply, without having to take up very much time of one of the programmers to just alter things so that the cultivator could be lowered down in its folded position. I mean, it might be they decided they didn't want to do that so that people don't accidentally go cultivating the field in its folded position, but I mean, you can't go and cultivate the field in its folded position with some of the other ones, so it should stop it from doing it when this one's folded up. But yeah, so I don't know about that bit. I'm not entirely sure why things are the way they are, but I'm curious. Get into the comments section. What niggly little points do you have about FS19 at the moment? What little things are there about the game that irritate you, that when you see it, when you're experiencing it, you think that would be a fairly easy fix? And I don't know about the whole sugarcane harvester. That might not be an easy fix. That one might actually be a much more complicated issue to go and fix. It just feels like the sugarcane harvester did not get the love that it deserved. It also felt a bit like that, the Estancia Lapacho map, when they blocked us out of being able to go upstairs. That was something that irritated me a lot. They removed all of the doors that could be opened and closed, and they stopped us from going upstairs. That I didn't like at all. I don't know what that was all about, but yeah, so that's my sort of complaint, with not being able to go upstairs in the Estancia Lapacho. We've lost the ability to open any doors on that map. And then sugarcane harvesters, which I don't know about that one. That might be a slightly bigger issue. That might be something that's a little bit more difficult to deal with. $55,000 for the 2 trailer loads. Nice. So we're going to get $110,000 altogether, because we're going to go and get 2 more trailer loads now. But the Estancia bit aside, that's just the Estancia house. Like, that bit, it doesn't really affect gameplay all that much. The sugarcane harvesters, right, maybe that's a complicated issue, maybe not, I don't really know. And then the cultivators and mowers that you can't lower down when they're folded. Because if you try to, they either just say you can't do it, or with the mowers, it just starts unfolding them before it lowers them down, which is very inconvenient when you're in a shed next to your other machinery. So, those few issues. Those those are irritations that I've got with this game, that besides those issues, I've got no real complaints with the game. Like, that's the sort of thing that, little niggles that bother me with the current state of the game. So I'm curious, are there any little issues with the game that you have? If there are, put them in the comment section. Right, write down what little complaints have you got with the game? What little tweaks do you think the game needs in order to just take it from being good to right up there with the best of the games? Assume, like, you don't have to write whole essays on this. I know that some people can. That there are some issues that people think, and there's big changes that you'd like to be made to the game. Yes, by all means, put in your big changes that you think should be made. I know that there are some things that people get quite passionate about and they think should be altered, like the whole hired help should be at least up to the standard of doing what the AI vehicle extension can do, whereas it follows, you know, go round in circles around the outside of the field. I suspect part of the reason that they haven't done anything like that yet is because AI vehicle extension can't do it yet. It can do it with combines, but it's not so good with tractors. With tractors and any implements and anything like that, it still struggles to get that bit right. That is something that it does actually find difficult. So there's a distinct possibility that Giants are also still finding that difficult to get it good enough that it doesn't take up lots of power on console and things like that. So, yeah, overall, what little complaints have you got with this game as it is right now? What tweaks would you like seen done in this game? Right, never mind like adding in loads of other stuff and the big changes, but what tweaks would you like to improve the quality of this game as it stands right now? And then, by all means, go and write out the other one as well. What improvements would you like to see made ready for the next game? What changes would you like to see? One of the big ones that I've seen a lot everywhere is more crops. I've seen a lot of people saying, yeah, this is all great, all this stuff that you're talking about. We want more crops. There's no new crops coming for the next DLC, which is going to be set in the Alps. So can we please have more crops being added into the game? That's what we want. There's a lot of people saying they want more crops. Different, just extra crops, maybe some more specialized machinery added in to be able to deal with them. Is that something that you want to see? Is that something you would like added into this game? More crops and things like that? What other changes? Assume Giants are reading the comments. I mean, the chances of Giants actually reading the comments are fairly slim, but just assume that all of the headquarters of Giants are reading the comments today. Go for it. Have at it. What changes do you think should have been made to this game to really bring the quality of it up to top notch? What little niggling things are there in the game that you think should have been dealt with? And what significant changes would you like to see made ready for FS21? Because FS21 will come out. It's just not coming out at the end of this year. They're waiting until next year when they've got the new console generation out, and then they will build it for that. So it'll be sometime next year we'll have FS21. What do you want to see in that game? What changes do you want to see made? And don't just put things like better physics on logs, because I was reading something about this quite a while ago, about the physics on logs in this game, and from a developer's sort of point of view, and the physics that they've got on the logs in this game are about as realistic as you can get within the limitations of computational power that you've got on consoles and on PC. You're gonna struggle to be able to make it any better than that. There was big, significant differences between handling of bales in this game and the last version of the game. There was a massive change in it. Bales are spongy, they give slightly on the forks and all things like that, which makes the bales actually feel quite realistic when you're handling them with a any kind of forks, tines, anything like that. You do still get some wandering around. But physics was something like that. If you were to really make logs and log handling 100% realistic, from what I've been led to understand, from my reading, from a bit of research and so on, from what I can understand, if you were to have logs that were like very realistic, your computer wouldn't be able to do it. Your computer would not be able to cope with the computations that would need to be sort of going alongside it in order to properly calculate how everything was moving, how everything was happening, and so on and so forth. Your computer couldn't cope with it. The reason that they've not gone any more extreme for realism with logs is because consoles would just fry themselves trying to do it. You wouldn't be able to have it. You wouldn't be able to put it on the consoles, and PCs would struggle. Like your PC would start overheating. Your PC would be ramping right up, and it would be melting the paint off walls as it tried to run all of those numbers and crunch it. At least this is what I might be wrong on this. There might be ways around it. There might be ways to completely recode the physics from the ground up, but I don't know. This is what I've been led to understand, is the reason that we don't have those things, the logs any different than they are, is because it would be nearly impossible for most computers to be able to actually run the game and handle the physics of the logs if they were very much different than what they are now. I don't know if that was just somebody guessing at it, or if that was somebody with accurate knowledge of how the programming and the physics engine of it all would work. I don't know. That's what I've heard. So I don't know. Maybe it would be, maybe it wouldn't be. It would be an interesting thing to find out. It would be interesting to hear Giant's comment on it. I'm not aware of any comments onto how the physics work and what sort of work could be done on it to improve it. No idea really. So what would you like to see in FS21? And I can already see, like, I see these comments all the time on Twitter and on Facebook whenever Giants drop something. If Giants asks a question, what do you want to see? Loads of people will come up with better maps. Well, that doesn't really help anyone at all, anywhere, at any point. That is a completely non-statement and is utterly useless. What constitutes a better map? I mean, as far as me personally, as far as I'm concerned, they've got Estancia Lapacho. I suppose a better map would be the ability to open the doors and go upstairs in the house on Estancia Lapacho. That would make a better map. But there are other people that don't like that map at all. For them, a better map is the Alps map that they'll be releasing soon, or a map set in the UK, with lots of small fields and hedgerows everywhere. And I've seen maps set in the UK being really soundly dissed by people that come from areas in Canada and the US and Australia, whose idea of a small field is something close to 1,000 acres, which would fit in like 4 or 5 farms here in the UK, right? That's the kind of scale of things. And so better map tells us absolutely nothing whatsoever. It is a completely useless non-statement that won't help anyone, and I'm just now prepared for a barrage of comments that just say better maps. I know my viewer base, apparently. What if you want better maps? What do you want to see? What would make the map better? What would be an improvement on maps that we've had? What is it that you need that makes this map better than what you've seen previously? Because just writing better maps doesn't help anyone at all. That doesn't give us any information. Also, what else? Is there anything else that you want to see in this game? There must be something else that you want to see. Me personally, I'm quite happy with the stock that we've got at the moment. We've got sheep, we've got pigs, we've got cows. I would like to see more of a choice with beef and dairy, rather than just buying in stock. I'd like the way that animals excuse me, the way that the stock is in seasons, that's kind of, I like that. It's a little bit sort of too much, I think, at times in play. Like, I don't know. The season's approach to farm animals is pretty good. The main thing I don't like about it, I think, is the fact that you've got to fill the thing up every 2 days. That is a little bit of a nuisance, because it means you've got to do it every single day. Whereas with the standard game, you can put 10 days worth of food in the trough, and that's brilliant as far as I'm concerned. You can go and fill them up, and then you don't have to worry about them for a little bit in the game. You can do some other things, you focus on some other things for a little bit, if that's what you want to do. And it also allows you to fast forward 3 or 4 days, if that's what you want to do, without having to stop and constantly refill your stock. Now, I suppose that there are plenty of people that say, well, it's not realistic. Everybody plays the game in different ways, don't they? Everybody has different ways of approaching a game and approaching what they think should be or shouldn't be done. Anyway, all of that aside, I've now got $128,000, which means that what I can do, I'm going to go, I'm not going to go to the combine here at all. I'm going to go here like this, and I'm going to select that combine. I'm going to reset that one to the shop because it's quicker. There we go. And I'm going to go and have a look in shop, in here. And we're going to have a look at, the first thing that I wanted to see was this one. Now, I'm going to lease that one there. The lease price is $2,000. So it's not a huge amount. That's within our price range. So we'll grab that for $2,000 and we'll jump into here. And we'll see, we can test this now and see if this is right. Because if this is right, I will buy this one now. And we'll worry about buying a second combine later if we can sell the beans off the field. I mean, I'm hoping that we can. This is promising, actually. That's actually looking like it's going to be the right height. That does look like it's going to be the right height. I think we want a slightly brighter red to match our Russell Mash combine. But I'm happy with that. I know it's probably a little bit too big for the combine, but I don't mind. I'm happy with that. It is, in theory, ever so slightly too big for the combine. And that PTO shaft over there is frightening, and it's that there's no drive shaft on this side at all. That one doesn't even fit. And if we run around over to this side, I'll be honest with you, I would be terrified to be working with something that had the PTO shaft like that. And if you look at where it's attached as well, where the combine is attached, we need the attacher joint to be changed so that that bit sits down on there. But if it was doing that, then this thing would be scraping on the floor. So let's be honest with you, this is definitely not the one that fits this combine, but it does fit. And it holds it up high enough off the ground that we can have a 6-meter cut instead of a 3-meter cut, which, as far as I'm concerned, is good enough. So, yes, we'll return that, and then we're going to buy one instead. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to the Capello right there, main color. So, that main color there, what color is that? White. Okay, I mouse over. That one doesn't have a name, even, that color. Case, Massey, Fendt, Hardy, Class, pink, purple, crimsons. I think really we want the Case IH red. That's closer to the Russell Mash one, and then I'll buy that bad boy right there. That's $45,600. That is a very expensive corn header, but it's going to be worth it. It is absolutely going to be worth it. So let's bring that one back round. I've now got a corn header that is suitable. We don't have the money to go and buy. Then if we just have a look at that red there, that's a much closer match to the Russell Mash red. That's good. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. One thing that we don't have is enough money now to go and purchase a second Russell Mash combine before we start harvesting the beans. So we'll be doing that with just one combine. That harvest will be done with the single combine, and we're going to need to save up a little bit more before we can get a second one, which means that, well, we might, if we can sell the beans before the next crop, we could end up with another Rosselmash combine, and we could be working our way through 2 lots of corn with 2 corn headers. Not necessarily, though. We may not quite be able to do that, because we've got, that's 45,000 for that header. The second combine would be good, but, I mean, really, I want a second combine with 3 headers. Yes, 3 headers would be great. So if I bring you over here and lower you down, I'm not going to be using you yet, so you can drop down there. I've got 3 headers lined up here with for my combine. A second combine means I need to get a second header of each type. So a second combine with one of those headers would be good. You know, we could use that with the beans, except that the beans is going to be cut with just this one. Then we're going to be on corn, which is just that header over there, and then we're not going to be needing anything else until, like, it's just going to be that one header there and whichever new combine we get, until such time as we cycle all the way back round to the sunflowers again. Right, let's go to you. As you're now finished, so we've done all the planting, we've done the fertilizer, we've done 1 round of fertilizer. We can just put that onto 120 times speed like that, and fold up our machine, run this back down to the bottom. The only thing we've got left to do now is a bit of fertilizer spinning. We've got the small fertilizer spinner in the shed. We could go and get rid of that one, and we could change that one up to a slightly bigger fertilizer spinner, which would allow us to do things quite a bit faster. So I think that's going to be... Wait, that was quick. Crumbs, look at that. Right, I'll slow you down there, so that's 3:30 at the moment. If I bring you... I'm going to put you in this way, like this, because this seed drill, we've actually finished with this one for now. No, we haven't. We've got corn to do next, so we're still going to be using this one. I'll pop you down there and unhitch that one. Oops. Let's not tip it over, shall we? And then if I come out like this, I'll go and grab that front weight just to bring our nose down a little bit, because this seed drill is slightly too heavy for this tractor, really. Right, it is definitely pushing the limits of what this tractor can cope with, at least weight-wise. Like, it seems to be able to do it in the field. It does slide around a little bit at times, but generally speaking, it does seem to be able to cope with it. Now, watch this. Right? No, not that one. There. I can lower that down without any problem at all. That works. So why can't I lower down the other cultivator? That's my niggly little thing with the game. So I'm curious to see what niggly little things other people have got with this game. What are your little niggles with the game? There must be some issues that you have. Everybody's got some issues with the games, with every game that they play. And oh, I know what I want to do. I want to go there, fruit type. You're still on the first growth stage. Field 26, there's a way to find this out. If we just jump here and start landscaping like this. Right, we've grown that one. That was not grown yet. I need to wait a growth stage. Well, there's an easier way to do that. If I drop you into there, I wanted to just hitch this one on so that I could... I think we've relived enough glory days just for a moment. We're going to take a breather. We're going to have a little bite to eat. And then we can get back to it, nice and refreshed, and relive a few more glory days. There should be some names coming up right now that you can have a look at. It's names of people who are in the Great Book of Names, people who have supported this channel, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. So if you've enjoyed this episode, then please head down below and give us a like. And if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me. Get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.